Welcome to Tactical Deep Dive. Cleopatra wasn't just a queen with dramatic makeup and a famous love story. She was one of the smartest and most powerful rulers in ancient history, and her real story is far more interesting than most people realize. Cleopatra was the last active ruler of ancient Egypt. She lived more than 2,000 years ago, but people still talk about her today because she was not just a queen, she was a brilliant strategist. A lot of people imagine Cleopatra as only a beautiful woman from old legends, but that picture misses the real story. She was a leader, a diplomat, and a woman who knew how to survive in a dangerous political world. Cleopatra came from the Ptolemy family, a Greek dynasty that ruled Egypt after Alexander the Great's empire broke apart. Even though her family was Greek, Cleopatra did something very smart. She learned the Egyptian language and presented herself like a true Egyptian ruler. That helped her connect with her people and made her look like a real pharaoh, not just a foreign queen sitting on the throne. What made Cleopatra so special was not just her title, it was her mind. She was highly educated and known for her intelligence. She could speak several languages, which was a huge advantage in her time. Think about it. Instead of needing someone to translate for her, she could speak directly to different leaders, traders, and diplomats. That gave her power. Cleopatra understood that words could be just as strong as armies. She also knew how to use politics to protect her kingdom. Egypt was one of the richest and most important places in the ancient world, but it was surrounded by powerful enemies. Rome was growing stronger, and Cleopatra had to make careful choices to keep Egypt independent. That is why her relationships with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony were so important. When Cleopatra met Julius Caesar, it was not just a love story. It was also a political move. She needed support to secure her place as queen, and Caesar gave her that chance. Later, she formed another major alliance with Mark Antony. Together, they tried to build a powerful challenge to Rome's rising leader, Octavian. These were not just romantic relationships, they were part of Cleopatra's strategy to protect her kingdom and her future. But here's the twist. A lot of the stories people heard about Cleopatra came from Roman writers who were against her. After Rome defeated her allies, they spread stories that made her seem dangerous, manipulative, and overly focused on beauty. That image stuck for centuries. So when people talk about Cleopatra as only a seductress, they are often repeating Roman propaganda rather than the full truth. The real Cleopatra was far more than that. She was intelligent, confident, and politically skilled. She knew how to lead, how to negotiate, and how to use her education to stay in control. That is what makes her one of the most fascinating women in history. Her death is still a mystery. The famous story says she died from a snake bite, but historians still debate exactly what happened. What we do know is that after her death, Egypt lost its independence and became part of the Roman Empire. That means Cleopatra's death was not just the end of her life, it was the end of an entire era. So when you think of Cleopatra, don't just think of beauty or romance. Think of a queen who spoke multiple languages, understood politics, and fought to protect her kingdom in a world controlled by powerful men. Cleopatra was not just a famous woman from the past. She was a legend because she was smart enough to shape history. And that is why, thousands of years later, people are still talking about Cleopatra.